Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and today I want to share with you the chalk drawing for our Waldorf main lesson block on the letters. This is an Islamic inspired main lesson block and we are doing the letter D. We're going to be doing the Dome of the Rock, Masjid al-Aqsa. So I've taken quite a few liberties with this drawing as well as trying to connect it to the story of the night journey Isra al-Miraj and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But it's been a little bit challenging finding a word that starts with D that's also in the shape of a D. So I'm starting out by kind of outlining the masjid here. You can already see the letter D, it's on its side. And I'm going to kind of work with this a little bit. For a geometric structure, it shouldn't be quite this challenging, and it turns out that it's fairly challenging for me. And as we do our crayon drawing, I find that it was a little bit challenging for my daughter as well. Trying to recreate a historical location or something that needs to be accurate is really challenging. So we've taken a lot of artistic liberties, and I encourage you to do so as well when you are doing these chalk drawings. It is for inspiration, it is for motivation, it is for beauty. It is not to be used as a very accurate depiction of that location. So I'm doing the sky up at the very top, and I also did a lot of what looks like just rectangles, and those are going to be the houses. So I've drawn this so that it sort of looks like today, but it's really supposed to represent the past. And in truth, this actual masjid wasn't constructed like this at the time of the Prophet ﷺ and Isra al-Miraj, the night journey. It did not look like this, but this location has significance, and it is considered holy and a sacred place. And so we are doing kind of a modern structure with what looks like in between modern and old type buildings as the houses in the background. And I just want it to look just really crowded and just kind of where you couldn't really distinguish one building from another. Right now they're looking kind of cartoonish, and the way that I've done the windows are just, really hasty, and just it doesn't look that great. But by the end of it, you'll kind of get the idea that this is just a crowded city. Now, I also don't know how crowded the city was back in the early 600s, but I imagine that this was still a thriving town or a city, and maybe the houses did look different. Maybe there were tents, but I think that the point is still relevant, that this was significant. There were people here. I am drawing some palm trees. And so again, having to take some liberties with this drawing means that you're going to lose some of the historical accuracy. But in the end, I think that it looks fine. And again, the letter was easy to identify even though it's on its side. So typically in a chalk drawing, I'll do a couple of things. I'll outline with white or gray chalk, and I am using my Sargent Art chalk pastels, and they give a nice, beautiful, vibrant color. I really like them, and they erase actually pretty easily. I did not have to use water on my board when I erased it, but you are free to do that as well. I just wouldn't have it sopping wet, but a damp cloth would work just fine. And I am using a small chalkboard that is 22 inches by 32 inches, and those chalkboards can be found at an online vendor called waldorfsupplies.com. And there's more information about the products that I've used as well as the other chalk drawings that I've done down in the description box below. So I've started out with somewhat of an outline, and then I move on to other parts of the drawing, and then I kind of go back and forth. And in part, that's because it's a little bit difficult to layer with chalk, and although it's super easy to erase, I'm trying to get what's going to be prominent in the foreground or prominent in the drawing itself and get that down, and then work around it, and then I'll come back and I'll do layers, or rather more detail. So you saw I did the houses, but I'm going to come back and do more to the houses. And you saw that I did the outline for the masjid, but I'm going to come back and do more. And then I started the palm trees, but then I'm going to do them, finish them off later. And so if I had done the palm trees first, you would have seen that it would have been more challenging to get those houses in the background. And I wanted the palm tree, like the leaves, to come in front of the masjid, and so I needed to get that done as well. So these lessons are part of a whole series of lessons that I'm doing that are Islamic inspired for our Waldorf main lesson block. Rather than using fairy tales, which are typical in grade 1 when introducing the letters, I have written my own curriculum to include historical and religious texts that are significant for us and our family. So this is the story of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his night journey. Other letters include other stories of the previous prophets. I am trying to choose letters that relate to words that are pivotal or important to the story. I've also done original poems to go with each of these letters. I do in the future want to create a story that goes with Prophet Dawood alayhi salam, because my daughter really was hoping that the letter D had to do with Prophet Dawood, but I am not doing all of the previous prophets, and I'm certainly not doing them according to their letters. But that is something to look forward to in the future. I would love to add another story. Alright, so this is what it looks like when it's all finished, and you can see that those houses in the background sort of blend together and give a nice kind of crowded look. So later that day, we went into our schoolroom and we did the lessons. And if you want to see some of the other lessons associated with this main lesson block, you can tap on the screen right now. If you want more information about this curriculum, you can find it on my website at pepperandpine.com. And if you want to see what our homeschool looks like on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at pepperandpine.